Next up, the Los Angeles Rams, Chargers. So an interesting team last year. They have a great defense to the brink. Number one defense in the NFL. Over under 9.5. They signed. Most people probably wouldn't remember that. They signed had a Garoppolo. Average offense. They have. They end up signing Najee Harris. Talented defense from last year. They got the rookie, the defensive rookie of the year. They lose Joey Bosa. Surprisingly good defensive unit despite the loss of Aaron Donald. But what do you have for the lot of turnovers on this team on the defense side of the ball?
I have them as an 8-win team. I do think, again, harder schedule, the health of Matthew Stafford up in the air. You start Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. If Matthew Stafford's going down, I'm concerned. Jimmy G has not looked like a starting quarterback.
I do like what they're doing there.
I think they're going to be right there in the mix with the Broncos in terms of, competing for the division. I don't think you can win if Matthew Stafford is not healthy and Matthew Stafford is not out there playing games and leading this offense. I just don't see them winning.
I like what they're doing. Again, a lot of this is going to come down to Justin Herbert and his quarterback play.
Matthew Stafford's not out there. I don't see him doing
to elevate this offense. He has to show what he showed maybe like 2 years ago. Not what he showed last year. 2-3 years ago when Justin Herbert was healthy and rolling. So if they get that Justin Herbert, I think they make even a play for the division. The defense is really good, even though they lost Joey Bosa. But let's be real, Joey Bosa.
I would stay away
more than half the
from this
season,
team.
pretty much every year.
I
like what they're doing out there.
Jim,
you can never count out Jim Harbaugh. He always knows how to get the most out of his players, and he just built himself a run-first team here with Najee Harris and Amarian Hampton.
Even just a real life,
I like 10 wins for them.
7 wins. I think I think that's fair. I have considerably. I think just because of Stafford, I think they are another playoff team. I don't think it's like crazy to say that the AFC West gets 3
he's not
playoff teams again. ChatGPT has them at for all the reasons that you said. So they have just Herbert. I think Harbaugh kind of reeled him in a little bit. Fantasy picks here. Do that run first approach to protect him because he did miss the season.
I think he was getting a lot of hype last year.
Injury.
He's the type of guy that's
split
with
I don't want to say he's reckless, but he does have like a gunslinger streak.
I think it's going to happen this year in the sense that I don't think the Rams will be throwing as much, especially if Stafford's not out there. Jimmy Garoppolo's out there. They're going to rely heavily on the run game.
On this team,
Blake Corum has a chance to earn some volume there as a
trying to rein it in and play that more conservative style of football.
Bust, I go Davante Adams
to get you 10 wins, but I don't know if it's
see
good
it,
enough
especially
to take
with Jimmy G. We saw this happen last year. It happened again in preseason where Jimmy.
I don't know
it was
if
like
they can have
not even preseason. It was like a joint practice where Jimmy led him over the middle. And if it was
next up, so I'm expecting a little bit of not a regression, but kind of last season an improvement on offense, push the Super Bowl champs to the brink. Defense to average out to over under 9.5. ChatGPT has Davante Adams 9, which might still be good enough to make the playoffs as a 7 seed. Who do you have for their talented defense from last year?
My sleeper is Amarian Hampton. I don't know if this is a sleeper anymore.
Surprisingly good.
I will say sleeper. I will say he's a sleeper in the sense that I think he could finish
Rams
top 5. Yeah, I have him as an 8-win team. I do think again that's harder schedule. I think he's been the health of Matthew Stafford up in the air. You start Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback if Matthew Stafford's going down.
But like, it's not
Jimmy
Harris.
Couldn't run like a starting quarterback in Arthur Smith run first offense.
Like 4 years since he's actually looked like a starting
explosive. He's not the guy. Yeah, I don't think you can win if Matthew Stafford is not healthy and Matthew Stafford is not out there playing games and leading this offense. I just don't see them winning. I think they're falling off him. They can't tackle him. Get him to 8 wins. I think Amarian Hampton,
if Matthew Stafford's not out there, I don't see him running back than that.
Yeah, I'm not liking any of the stuff. I mean, there was talk about him being like the first running back anytime taken. I mean, I know Dante had all the hype, but he was ended up being the second running back. But people could be healthy. Maybe Hampton is a better running back than Dante. We'll see. Or
I don't know, man. He gives me prime Adrian.
I would stay away from this team. I mean, it's like scaring me away from Davante Adams as well. I would start. And then who's your Williams?
I mean, Quentin Johnson. That's my bust. Like I don't know how he's still on the Chargers roster. If I'm being honest,
from a fantasy perspective,
that's the guy I go with as a bust. Like I don't know, man. He's fast. He's strong. He just can't catch. Like how many times have we seen this guy in the NFL? Like you don't have hands. What are you doing as a wide receiver, bro?
38 years old.
You might as well play cornerback.
He's not that young. Yeah, ChatGPT has him at 9 wins. Not a great. I mean, good combo until the can't catch part.
Until the can't catch part. So maybe you're better off being a corner. So yeah, I think QJ's a bust. Yeah,
just don't draft
him. It's Blake Corum. I think
you should stay away from
a lot of hype,
especially because they added like Trey Harris as well.
Yeah, Blake Corum's gonna split with Kyron Williams. He's gonna steal some volume for him.
I think it's going to happen this year in the sense that I don't think the Rams will be throwing as much, especially if Stafford's not out there. Jimmy Garoppolo's out there. They're going to rely heavily on the run game.
I think he's the one that's going to benefit from
Quentin
Johnson taking a step back. I think Johnson got a concussion.
Maybe some pass catching
preseason games,
ability
took a
here and
nasty
there.
hit.
Plus, I go Davante Adams.
Probably should have caught it.
I just don't see it, especially with Jimmy G. We saw this happen last year. It happened again in preseason where Jimmy, it was like not even preseason. It was like a joint practice where Jimmy led him over the middle.
And next up, that's a little spoiler alert for Los Angeles Rams draft coming up. Bust. So Justin Herbert last season again, just relative. I don't think that he's going to have the volume. He's not going to be put in the position over under 9.5. They 40-50 times a game because that's just not what John Harbaugh wants or Jim Harbaugh wants. So if you can get him defense from last year, they got the defensive rookie of the year. If you're in a traditional 1 QB league, you're better off despite the loss of Aaron Donald, Bo Nix, or what do you have for the? There's a ton of guys I would take ahead of him. Just based
I have him as an 8-win team. I do think again, the real game. Davante is getting lit up, so I don't know why Davante Adams signed here knowing Jimmy Garoppolo was there.
I think he signed first, and then Jimmy G.
Okay, is that what happened? He's like, damn it. He's like, can I get out of this deal? Yeah, I just don't see enough volume there for Davante to be successful, especially with Puka there as a number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah, if Stafford was healthy, I would be all in on Adams. But I don't see that happening. Happy to be proven wrong. My sleeper is their new tight end, Terrence Ferguson. So they use a high draft pick on him. I don't think any of the other tight ends on the team, Higbee or the other dudes, are that impressive. So I think he's going to be the beneficiary, even if Jimmy G is out there. I think he will benefit from just being a high draft pick and getting worked into the offense. Bust is Stafford, just for other reasons that we talked about, the injuries and everything else. I don't feel comfortable betting on that happening and him playing a full season.